of our first webinars which we are having truly like a webinar. So we normally have internal webinars. So first of all, I'd like DG ma'am to give us the welcome address.
Thank you, Savita, and good morning to all of you here. Am I audible well?
Yes.
Okay. So, today's webinar, as you all know, is on design thinking by an eminent person in the field, Dr. Arun Jain. User experience, as you all know, is an important attribute of software design. In fact, it is a critical success factor for any software. Considering the significance of user experience, we had set up an exclusive division of user experience design and technology in NIC last year. User experience is not only limited to color schema, to graphics, or to icons. It extends far beyond. It extends the way you lay out your screens, how do you sequence your information, what is the interface language you use, and what is the kind of intuitiveness you introduce in these whole interface design. At NIC, we are very uniquely placed in terms of the softwares we develop and the whole spectrum. The softwares we develop by our various centers are being used by junior most person in the government to senior most officer in the departments. It is being used by startups, MSMEs, large enterprises. It is also being used by citizens across very, very diverse demographics across the length and breadth of the country. In addition, judiciary, parliamentarians, everyone uses our software. So for a right user experience, besides all these technologies, we also need to understand the context in which a particular software will be used and the purpose for that software will be used. And therefore, the user experience design should be planned right at the prototype level or maybe even before prototype. We need to follow the discipline in our software development endeavors, irrespective of whether we are developing a small software which will be used by a select set of people in the district or it will be used by whole of a state. In fact, it becomes all the more pertinent when we design these national level software products and platforms, where we're designing one platform or one product and we plan to roll it out across the country. Because it is not only it's very critical to its success, but it also becomes far more challenging to design these experiences in a way so that it can suit to people who are from diverse demographics and are going to use this software sometimes in different context. And therefore, design thinking, which provides a comprehensive framework of design of a software with keeping user at the center of it, it's very, very important. And therefore, I feel we all should really learn and start practicing as a religion whenever we are doing our software development. And I'm very, very thankful to Savita and particularly Dr. Arun Jain, who has agreed to, who is the master, or what should I say? I mean, who's the pioneer of design thinking, and he very passionately follows it. I'm really grateful that he has agreed to spare time and address all of you. And I request all of you to really spend next couple of hours, and I'm sure at the end of it you will learn lots of tips, tools and techniques through which you will be able to apply this to your software design endeavors. I'm also grateful to him for sharing copies of his book Unmat, which is very it really elicits the whole concept of design thinking framework in a very simple manner, and I'm sure you'll enjoy reading it. Thank you very much, and I look forward to this talk.
Thank you, ma'am. And I think we'll all really benefit. So I would just, before Mr. Jain starts speaking, I'd just like to give a brief introduction to all our NICians about him. Shri Arun Jain, he is the founder of Polaris Group and CMD of Intellect Design Arena Limited, which is the world's first full-spectrum banking and insurance technology products company. Intellect powers over 240 leading global banks and financial institutions with a revenue of 1459 crores and an employee base of over 5,000. And Mr. Arun, he commenced his entrepreneurial journey by setting up Nucleus Software sometime in 1986, and then Polaris Software in 1993, and finally Intellect in 2011. As an evangelist of design thinking, his brainchild, FinTech 8012. 8012 is we came to know where during our visit was the lat long of Chennai, where the company is based. So that was a really interesting thing we learned. And this is the world's first design center at Chennai. It is dedicated to financial technology. With the constant drive to better the community around him, he has also instituted the Mission Samriddhi, a social impact enterprise dedicated to holistic human development in India. Ullas Trust, a social impact organization working towards igniting less privileged young minds into realizing their true potential, and Startup Nukkad, a unique initiative for budding entrepreneurs to understand their purpose and nurture and mentor the innovative thinking using 10X model. Shri Arun Jain has been entrusted with the responsibility of the Chief Mentor of the FinTech Center of Excellence at STPI, Chennai, and this has been set up by MIT. And this is in association with the ELCOT, the government of Tamil Nadu. He also holds various prestigious positions in various forums such as National Software Product Mission, NILIT, STPI, CII, Madras Management Association, and the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. Shri Arun Jain has been bestowed with numerous accolades, including the Dronacharya Award 2019 by Tycoon Chennai, CII Lifetime Achievement Award, Lifetime Award at the Design Thinking Conclave and Awards 2018, Indo-Asian Business Initiative Award, Rotary Clubs for the Sake of Honor Award, Lions Club International Award for Youth Empowerment, Pathfinders Award for Excellence in IT, and ITES recognized by Times Group, ICICI Venture, CII Connect Entrepreneur Award, Lions Club International Award for Youth Empowerment. And recently he was also bestowed with the Business Mentor Award by Vikantan Group, one of South India's leading media powerhouses. With a legacy of 93 years, Vikantan Group has been the pioneer in the media space in South India. Shri Arun holds a degree in electric engineering from DCE, and while he was here for Tech Conclave, he did tell us that he had done his training here in NIC, so he has a good connect with all of us at NIC. And he has kindly consented to give us this webinar on designing products with accelerating thinking. This is for the benefit of NICians. And as he's saying, creating a world-class product really requires a shift in the approach of thinking. We at NIC, we have been working to develop a lot of products and all that. But I think what we now need to do is that we have to have this shift in our approach and the thinking. So we need to zero into the user desirability deeply, while still keeping the technical feasibility in the forefront, which is very important for product development. And design thinking as a problem-solving approach will help us in understanding the nuances of the software product development with the user as the key, user centricity as the key focus. In this session, you will all understand how to apply some of the design thinking elements to ensure that your approach and efforts towards addressing user requirements gives the intended outcome. So I think we can all applaud Dr. Arun Jain in the beginning, and then I request him to start.
Thank you, Savita ji. Thank you, Neeta ji. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So I must thank Neeta ji and Savita ji to invite me for this session of NIC. This is where I learned my computer in 1982 from Madan Gir Center of NIC and worked on CDC Cyber and created a database application with Dr. Vijay Aditya. So that was my fortunate part of working with NIC. Besides this, with the MeitY, I have a lot of interaction with various officials in MeitY and Mr. Ajay and other product members of MeitY, various product mission. My desire is that India should be on the product map. The amount of products which government of India is writing, and each product of NIC is used by few million people. So beauty of the NIC products are, it has got the largest usage of the product anybody can aspire for. Some of the products written by NIC is being used by 100 million people or 200 million people users. That's a typical kind of an audience that Zoom is looking for or any WhatsApp is looking for. And we are not getting a right recognition of the applicability of those products which is written by NIC because we don't brand it, we just take it as usual. A simple applications which is written like DigiLocker or any other application, many million people uses it very silently. Because there is no commercial angle is involved, we are not appreciating sometimes to the industry what is the impact of such applications which NIC is writing. My journey of design thinking started sometime in 2007-2008 when I was visiting Silicon Valley. All of us know Silicon Valley companies, the 4 companies of Silicon Valley is equivalent to India GDP. Now it's not even 4, just 2 companies of Silicon Valley are equivalent to India GDP as a whole. So it means just few thousand people are able to meet the market valuation of India GDP, which is quite surprising that how the Silicon Valley is differentiating itself not in the global world but in within US. In New York also there are not so much companies available of similar nature. So if something goes very important is the cultural part of it. So when I did an investigation, I found that Stanford University started design thinking sometime in 1992. MBA was started for a better management of the things, which was started in 1908. But 1992, Stanford started design thinking, and the design thinking in the Stanford University created an environment and culture around design thinking in that part of the world. So then say, what is the design thinking? So it took me some 3 to 4 years of research between 2007 to 2010. I did a research on design thinking. Then 2011, we started setting up our design center that if we want to set up a product company out of India, which can compete globally with the global product companies of Americas or Europe, we need to have the shift in the thinking of India. We need to move India developer from order takers to problem solver to agenda setter. And that time we set up a FinTech 8012 as a design center. And those learnings of last almost 10 years learning, what we have adopted and built a lot of products which are competing in a global marketplace, including RBI and other product companies. So I'm putting in a short form of 90 minutes, but this is a subject which needs much more attention and much more detailing. Today I will be just running past a glimpse of it, like a small trailer of the design thinking. The actual movie will be there when you experience it. So this is not the movie which can be just seen on a TV. It's like a Disney World which you have to experience when you go to Disney World. And that's where I would like to give a glimpse of it today, so that once you are aware of it, your curiosity gets activated, and then you will spend enough time to learn about design thinking. And design thinking is, UX is one part of design thinking, because in application there are many things which require for application to be as successful as Zoom or any other application of WhatsApp or Facebook. So I'll just go through some of the principles first, and then look at it, what I can consolidate. So it will be a fast journey of 90 minutes. where a lot of concepts will be there. And whenever you have doubt, please put a questions on the right side on chat box. Some of the question I can answer right now, and some of the question I can answer later on, who are keen interested in it.
But now it's we'll do.
Okay.
Sir.
So I was sharing the painting of Rembrandt, which is slide number 2, where the 3 faces of Rembrandt, they are like ministry, technology team of NIC and end user. So these 3 people are there sometime. They are looking the view of the problem differently. So each one has a different problem to solve. So how do you align them? And it creates a complexity, which is the next slide, that how crisscross it can be there. A ministry may look at differently, while user may look at differently. A panchayati, sarpanch may look at the problem statement different from a person sitting in Delhi and similar to the person. So design thinking is bringing them aligned. So my observation was like a birds are sitting in a tree. Have you observed this bird sit on the same tree? There's a parrot in the morning, afternoon there's a manna, and then there's some quail. They don't fight for the space. And what makes them so different than anybody else, any other animal? Because dog has a space, cat has a space, human being has a space. So we live in a boxed space, while birds lives in a 3-dimensional space. And that 3-dimensional space of thinking is called boundaryless thinking, and which I call Unmukt. This is a starting point of design thinking, that how do I think boundaryless? Otherwise, we all live in a boundaries of what role we are playing, what job we are doing, and what problem we are solving. But sometimes problem is bigger than what we are seeing the problem as. How do we move our thinking process to boundaryless thinking is a Unmukt mind. And from there the design thinking starts. Design thinking, what is the meaning of design thinking? It's the way we design many other objects in our house, the way we design our house, the way we design the think pattern, the way we design the work pattern, the way we design the program, the way we design. So we design multiple things. But can we design the thinking itself? Because those are the outcome of the thinking. So if we go inner side, then it's like designing the thinking of the people. So how they shape it up, how they shapes up, and that is the design thinking. If I take an example of Sikhism as a religion, I say it's a deep design thinking which is applied there in Sikhism. When there was an untrained workforce, Guru Gobind Singh Ji has to fight the Mughal, which is a trained workforce. No, they didn't have all the wherewithal which is required to fight the Mughal battle, and then he has to fight them. So he asked every family to give the eldest son of the family whom he want to make a warrior. How did he make them a warrior? First is to change the mindset of the person. He changed their name itself. So if there was a person called Kamal Goyal, is the name of the person who joined the army of Guru Gobind Singh, he said, okay, what is the purpose of your war? You want to win the war. So you become Kamal Jeet. You add win in front of the name. And then you say, how do you win the war? It becomes Singh. So that becomes Singh as a second element which is there. So his name becomes Kamal Jeet Singh. Then he started defining the way he worked together with 7 Ks, common dress code, the brand capital. Initially, Pagdi was never worn by the people. Pagdi was worn by only those people who can be kingdom, who rule something. He given everybody a Pagdi to wear. So he changed their mindset first before changing their skills. So changing the mindset, what DG NIC is saying, how do you change the mindset of all the 5,000 people or 15,000 people which is involved in NIC is the first thing to be done. So design thinking to me, in the first definition which Stanford defines, it's about human desirability. You have some inspiration that this we want to make a change. Technology makes it feasible. So we at NIC makes it feasible, and ministries makes it viable, which is the business side of it. So the intersection of 3 things, which is experience, is what come out of the 3 things: desirability, feasibility, and viability. But now there's a mystery in desirability. Do we know what actually is required by the end user? We need to go to the next step of it. Now, if you look at this Devanagari script, the ka, kha, ga, gha, do they have somebody observe the pattern in this script that the phonetic, the vocal cord of the human speaking cord is basically ka, kha, ga, gha come from the kant, cha, cha, ja, ja come from our tongue, ta, ta, ra, ra. So each portion of the mouth system has been understood clearly and then created an alphabet and then created 4 different variant of the alphabets. And that's how the full Devanagari script is there. And that's why it's so complete in nature compared to any other script, because it has got all the fineness of it. So I call it, there was a mystery, like Chinese people never defined this alphabets. They still have a pictorial pictures. We look at it, some languages have defined heuristics, and finally there's an algorithm to it. So when the problem statement moves from mystery to heuristics to algorithm, when it becomes algorithm, then it becomes science. So in Arogya Setu, we are trying to build up an algorithm of saying this is the algorithm to find out who is the person, where it is, and that is we are coming from mystery. Then we look at it Bluetooth, then we look at telecom towers, and we look at the multiple data, and we do the triaging, and from there we're creating an algorithm out of it. The third example of design thinking I want to give it is South Indian food. It looks very ordinary, but if I look at it, a South Indian food where wastage can happen every day because of the heat, because it's near equator, somebody has looked at it, the heat as a ally instead of an adversary. And what did they do? They find that if I have to design a good food, I need nutrition, I need easy to cook, I need variety, I need zero wastage. And if you look at from that concept, in the South Indian food, I observed, since I come from Delhi to South India, so I observed the food. They put 1/3 dal and 2/3 rice to make a batter and allow to ferment. So whatever digestion is to be required inside the body by the fermentation, it is done prior. And then they make recipes of day 1 recipe is idli, day 2 recipe is dosa, day 3 recipe is utpam. So you have a zero wastage in the food chain. And similarly for sambar, there is a similar element that all the vegetables get merged into sambar. And if you look at a rice, rice has a multiple component based programming is there in rice. You have a rice boiled, and that rice is boiled and used in multiple places. If you put tamarind rice, coconut rice, curd rice, you put the ingredients, you get a new variety of the rice. So I found the cycle time of this design thinking element in South India, the housewife saves almost 2 hours per day. So if there are 40 million families is there, it's 80 million hours of the saving just because of one food design, which is much faster than anywhere else in the country. So design thinking definition 3 is we need to understand the requirement. What is the food chain requirement is there? What is stated and what is unstated? Zero waste is unstated. Then second thing is I need to observe the patterns and anti-patterns. Anti-patterns is what doesn't work. A lot of time we design the system which is based on the patterns, but anti-patterns is where it fails. I need to design a system in what situation the system fails. The third thing is connecting the dot. Then I need to connect the patterns. Within the box means within the application, and outside the box means outside the application. And fourth is unearthing the blind spot. I don't know what I don't know. Means I need to know. Sometime, lot of our time we are under blind. We don't know many things. So sometime if I'm just taking the example of triaging and finding out for current problem statement, how do I find out the corona COVID person? There are multiple people. New Zealand working in a particular manner, India is working in a particular manner, Germany is working in a particular manner. How do I know about what they are doing? That is about unearthing the blind spot. So New Zealand is using QR code to understand the location of the person where he is traveling versus somebody else is using telecom. There are the various possibilities are there which comes from the blind spots. So if the design definition, first definition is desirability, feasibility, viability. Second definition is mystery, heuristics, and algorithm. Third definition is just an unstated requirement of patterns, anti-patterns, connecting the dots, and unearthing blind spots. Now from there, we see what is a good product? What is a good product which gets adopted by many people very quickly? Everybody will start using it and start getting the benefit of using the product. Like if I look at NIC, Arogya Setu is one application, Jeevan Praman is another application, e-transport is a third application, government e-procurement system, and then low coding platform like Service Plus. All of you have done so many applications which is built by the NIC, and there are many more which I'm not aware of it, but which are doing phenomenally good service to the nation. We have gone through a similar process, maybe sometime intuitive, sometime by conscious mind, sometime by the good designers in the office, so in NIC. So in intellect, we want to say, how do we make it general? Sometimes we have some people who do a very good job, but if you have to do a 5,000 people organization has to just repeated job, then we did a survey. See what makes better for product adoption. So we looked at 40 different applications and interviewed some 200 plus users, managers, and designers. Once the input which came in, we started putting into 7 clusters of patterns. These clusters were UI and UX, or customer experience is the first group of pattern. Second group of pattern was ease of intuitive next steps. Because the application is loaded, what is the intuitive next step is there? That is about operational ease. Third is about response time and performance, which is visible to the customer that he is not waiting, which helps in providing the right information at the right place, at the right time for the right decision. So there are 4 different clusters which happen. One related to customer experience, second related to operational ease, third related to performance, and fourth related to analytics. Then we found something which came out from managers and designers very differently. They identified there are 3 more clusters for writing a good application. Since they are not visible on the surface, their absence is felt, not the presence, like controls, self-reconciliation, risk algorithm. They got classified into 3 clusters of called risk cluster, configuration integration, and security cluster. So these are the 3. So 7 clusters we identified. We call the 7 cluster to acronym it. We call it COPARIS. C for customer, O for operations, P for performance, A for analytics, R for risk, I for integration, and S for security. So our experience was that UI UX both are very, very important, as DG Madam has highlighted. That why it's so important is because that's where it's like a showroom of the application. There are a lot of places, there's a factory outlet and showroom. UI UX is my showroom of the application. While ease of intuitive steps, which is a operational ease, is that whenever I'm one step I logged in, what is the next step? What is the next step? It should be intuitive, or immediate help should be available to make me move to the next step rather than getting stuck there. So a lot of application which you download, sometimes you get stuck and you're never able to use it. Next is response time. Response time could be the response time of application. Sometimes response time is what is perceived by the end user. So sometimes you can do first screen immediately to show, and second and third screen can take some few more seconds. Is it? But perceived performance is more important for the customer. Fourth is right information at the right place at the right time for right decision in the analytics. Control, self-reconciliation, risk algorithms, configurable integration, and 3 to 7 layers of appropriate security. But the first 4 is visible to him. Last 3 is only absence is felt. Okay. Okay, so I'll see the way they are there on the PPT. So maybe. Okay, so you're playing the PPT. So you are at this place. Next slide. Next slide. If you repeat.
They are telling which I asked her which screen you are. She's typing.
So which, yeah, so आप इस slide पे चल, I'll speak from this slide. Just PPT पे
Sir, वही तो like है.
monitor दे रहा हूँ. So I am at Coparis slide. So we are saying first is C stand for UX, reports, laser clicks, lesser clicks, lesser data entry, better readability. The operation is about what is the data which is required, what tools which is required, what actors are required, what workflow is required. On performance, you need to manage 4 layers: network layer, CPU layer, memory, and storage. Then you need to look at analytics, you need to look at trend, monitors, and decisions. Then you need to look at risk, you need to look at operations and technology risk. Integration is what type of message formats, transformation, orchestration. And security is device security, network security, firewall. So these you must be doing all of it, but I'm just classifying into group. It helps in designing the application. So when you are saying application is adopted well, like Swiggy or Ola or YouTube or Facebook, what have you observed which are the great application? So go to next slide, please. So what do you like about each application? Each of one of you should observe why the Facebook is so popular. Now Facebook is designed, now we know Facebook is more popular among 40 plus people, while for millennial, Instagram is more popular. What is the difference between Instagram and Facebook? How they are designed differently, because my persona is different. Have you observed that how many apps you have downloaded but never used? How many apps are there on your mobile phone which has not been used more than 2 times or 3 times? At least in my phone, my phone, if I download 5 apps, I'm able to use only 1 or 2 apps afterwards, and 4 apps never get used. What is the friction point of those apps? And I think that's what we need to study, and that's where we were saying design thinking becomes an important piece in it. So good adopted application, next slide.
She wanted that.
Fine.
She wanted you to stop sharing your presentation.
I not stop. Okay.
अब कर दी stop.
Okay.
अब आपका कैमरा इनेबल करना है ये वीडियो.
Okay. Okay, so which slide are you on? I'm on slide number 19.
Okay, 19. We'll get back to 19. Yeah, 19, sir.
So I was on how many apps have you downloaded which you never used for more than 3 times? All of us download multiple apps, and we were never able to use those apps just because we are not able to use those apps. Next is, what is a good application which can be adopted well? So what can we adopt well? Disabled by the, okay, my video is getting disabled by moderator, so now it's okay. Okay, so this balance of 7 elements which we call Coparis are the first level of design which we need to look at it. And now move to the next slide, please. So with that, what we learned in design thinking is less is more. You need a less number of, put next click, please. less number of clicks. So in an application, you need to have a less number of clicks, less number of screens, less number of data fields, less number of tables, less number of approvals, less number of analytics screen, less number of interfaces, less number of security interruptions. So everything should be less. A lot of time in programming we say how many lines of code we have generated, and we feel proud of it that we have generated 1 million lines of code or 2 million lines of code. A good code is one which is 100,000 lines of code where there are lesser number of screens, but you need to identify which are the right screen need to be there. Next slide. Based on our prioritization, we need to see that we have, I'm on slide number 22, the click. These principles, we need to look at it, what is requires the, I am not able to see you. I'm just seeing the blank screen, not the slides. Slide not visible. Okay, now it's visible, please. Okay. So this theory of prioritization, this principle will help you in having good dialogue with your customer. Because a lot of time customer says do this, do this, do this. So you must have experience when you are designing an application, customers gives you 100 points, 200 different points, and you say I have a 200 points to be executed, 200 changes to be done in the system. I think we need to identify with the customer whether which is the 10 gram item, which is the 100 gram item, which is the 1000 gram item, which can have a better impact on it. So if you observe yourself that a lot of time customer asks for a lot of reports, but only 10% of reports are used 99% of time. Most of us, if I look at it, 95% of users use less than 20% of functionality of Excel product or MS Word. WhatsApp, if you look at it, it has a less than 50% functionality of Google Chat, but it's more popular. So when they identified which is a 1000 gram item and provide only 1000 gram item, that will drive the benefit of prioritization. So in design thinking, second law is very, very important, that you prioritize not on scale of 1 to 10 or ABC, you prioritize 10 gram, 100 gram and 1000 gram. Next slide, please. The next element of design thinking, when you look at the products, 98% products are similar. Like most of Chinese mobile phones are similar with a lot of functionality which is similar, but the last 2% of Samsung or Apple, that takes away most of the market share. You have a better pricing for that, and Apple phone is almost 3 times the cost of a Chinese phone is because of detailing, and detailing is last 2%. So when you design an application, sometimes you need a patience to do a lot of detailing. Move to slide, next slide. 24. So there are 3 laws explained again. Less is more, theory of prioritization, and last 2% is 200%. So these are the dialogue when we are doing design dialogue with the customer or the user, we need to look at this prioritization which needs to be there. Move to next slide, please. But normally we get into 4 customer traps. A lot of managers, when I talk to a lot of managers in Intellect, some of the time my managers are saying, customer knows everything. So we keep on asking customer what he wants, which is a good starting point from understanding what customer problem is he's trying to solve. But most of the time, he knows everything of last 50 years. The expert like NIC experts can say, these are possible with the technology. And based on this, these out of 10 processes which is there existing, 4 processes are not required because technology makes them obsolete and these need to be deleted. Only 6 processes are required, and out of 6 processes I need to add 2 more of the processes which can be done on a new technology. Because of a shared technology available today, I don't need those old processes which was designed by Britishers, and a file system is done, and we are automating those same set of processes. So something we need to delete, something we need to add. So customer knows everything is a myth. Customer knows his processes, not what is possible using the current technology. The next thing is typically second trap happen. Customer wants everything. So when my manager goes to the customer, he says, "Oh, I have an old house with 24 rooms are there and 20 almirahs are there. I want to translate all of it into the new application." We need to say, when you shift old house to new house, do you take all the garbage along with you, or you leave the garbage in the old house? I think whenever it's designing, I have observed that if you're using 1,000 reports in a system, out of which 950 reports are never used by anyone in last 3 years. So we need to pick up which 50 reports are important, not 1,000 reports. So a lot of time in government RFP, we experience that please transfer all the 1,000 reports to new system, which has never been used by anybody. Because those reports were required at that point of time in 1970, 1980, 1990, or 2000. In 50 years, so many things have changed. Those reports doesn't have a relevance anymore. So customer want everything. We need to have a hold on to him, what is really required for him, and that's the decision making of design thinking which is required. The third trap of customer is customer wants everything as of yesterday. This is a standard item that this should have been done in next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks, next one month, next 3 months, and we jump into the coding without getting appropriate time for design. So we don't have a dialogue, design dialogue with the customer. We don't have internal design dialogue. We don't look at it. Something has been solved before of similar nature. We jump into coding immediately and start creating a sub-optimal application. And fourth thing is customer wants changes every week. So first is he wants everything yesterday, and after that he wants changes every week. I'm sure you must be finding a similar situation in your environment where customer wants everything and every week changes are there. It means there is a problem of design. These last two issues are related to design, where we need to spend more time in design than coding. In our college days, we all understood that design is how important the design is, but in real life, we jump to coding before the design time is available to us. And I think this requires some change in thinking process between our user, education to the user, why the design dialogue is important, and that is the to come out of the 4 traps. And these 4 traps we need to change the mindset in our application design. Next step, please. Next slide. So design thinking is natural in every human being. It's all natural with us. Sometimes it gets suppressed. What happens normally when we start our career, we ask a lot of questions, but when we are in the system, we stop asking questions because as per the norm, we are not supposed to ask too many questions when seniors are sitting there. And that's why we stop asking the fundamental question, and we ask only the sensitive question, not the fundamental question. Next slide, please. I'll take you to the theory of design thinking. Maybe I'll pass on because time window. Savita ji, how much time do we have? Because we got 12:30 is there, but I think should we make it to 12:40?
I think Dr. Jain, we can take little more. There is no problem.
Okay. So then we are looking for theory of design thinking. Next slide, please. Just skip this slide. Skip. So we say that for design, there are 4 forces of design which helps us designing. Next slide, please. You see this car mechanic or a diamond polishing person. A good car mechanic, just listening to the noise of the carburetor, he can find what the problem is. That is called skill. Move to the next slide. What is a skill? A skill is applying a set pattern of knowledge packet in a predefined knowledge container is a skill. A skill is all the elements which connect together. So good coding is a skill. But that is only one element of design thinking. Second element, just move to the next slide. We need a mastery at subconscious level. When the surgeons are performing surgery, you would like to do the surgery done by some surgeon who has done 100 surgeries before. After doing 100 surgeries, he knows where the nerve is going, where the blood vessel is going. You need a mastery at subconscious level. So good programmers, good system designers knows that when to touch, which data element to touch, and that is a mastery. Move to next slide. This is called expertise. This expertise is the deep knowledge and deep expertise of doing the same thing again and again, which is measured in terms of depth of the knowledge. Next. This is a Google map. We can map it anything. It's like a aerial view of the space. Now it's available on a mobile. Earlier it was available on aerial view. Next slide. So looking at the problem statement from a height is a perspective. Perspective is where a leader of the designing team sit on from the top, or a team sit on the top and say, oh, this is panchayat is connected to district, district is connected to ministries, and this is the connection which is there. It gives a perspective. So when you write an application for sarpanches, he is getting a healthcare from health ministry, he is getting a education from education ministry, he is getting a budget from GPDP. So all of it has to come from some various sources, and that bringing perspective together makes the application much better. Move next. Now fourth thing is called idea. A motor which runs horizontally, when it runs vertically, it becomes elevator. So if you look at left picture, which is a Jeep, on the right picture when it runs vertically. Now motor has not changed. Motor as an item, invention has not changed, but its application has changed. So what is idea? Next slide please. Idea is a connecting the knowledge packet in a new pattern is an idea. Means a thing which is designed for horizontal movement, if you make it move vertical, it's just connecting a knowledge packet to solve the problem differently, and that's an idea. And that idea could be within the technology container, or could be technology container and a business container, or technology container and a user container. So the way various application we design, sometimes by changing a small shift, we can able to give a delivering a new functionality for the customer. That's an idea. So the four elements are skill, expertise, perspective, idea, and five. Go to next slide, please. Is about flying all the aircraft in a unison. Move next slide. This is about aligning all the multiple knowledge clusters, converge above the plane. When all the five things come together, skill, expertise, perspective, idea, and alignment, that is a starting point for design thinking. So that's why in a team, we need multiple teams and multiple experts, multiple leaders, and multiple ideas. But still, it doesn't lead to the best design. Move to the next slide, please. Next slide. There are frictional forces which we call DCAF. First frictional force, next slide. When did you raise hand for clarification? Sometimes a meeting is happening and we are discussing the specification and you have some doubt in your mind. But since there is a senior IAS officer sitting there, you feel that it's not a right place to ask that question. How many times does that happen? Move to the next slide. Sometimes there is a doubt in our mind and we don't raise the question. Even if you are uncertain, not clear, sometimes we are indecisive. I think first frictional force is a doubt. You need to trust your judgment. That if, because most of the application NIC is written for citizen of the nation. Lot of it is for citizen of the nation. So we are the self-user of our own application. So if some application we are writing for ourselves, we should know whether it will work for me or not work for me. So sometimes when the requirements are coming, we need to look at it. And sometimes we have those answers, but we don't ask those questions at the right time. So this is the first frictional force. By asking questions, you don't need approval all the time. Next. Next question, next frictional force is conflict bad? Normally we say conflict is a bad thing. Next slide, please. Next slide. Conflict is just a difference of opinion, is a difference of perspective, a difference of expectation. Conflict is a source of creativity in good design. Because for good design, you need creativity, and for creativity also you need difference of opinion, difference of perspective, and difference of expectations. There are three differences which can be there. So if you happen to be difference of opinion as a technology manager, you are having difference of opinion with a user or a business manager or a government official, sometimes we may not be able to raise our conflict in open. I encourage to raise, for good design thinking, to raise in a nicer manner the difference of opinion, not by conflict with him, but you can ask a question, may I have your permission to have a difference of opinion with you? May I have a difference of opinion, may I have a permission? So take a permission first and then state your point, that this point can be there, then he can appreciate him. And this is a culture which needs to be changed. A culture of dialogue is required. Culture of not review, but culture of dialogue. In dialogue, it's not that somebody has to present the pair. Sometimes you need to just come with an open mind in design thinking dialogues. So the review process can be different. Design dialogue process can be different. Next slide, please. This is typically what we see at airport when the flight gets cancelled or flight get delayed, and everybody shouts at the person who is carrying the news. They are not, and the senior people also, I have seen on airport, it's a good scene to watch where people make a laugh, where they make a fool of themselves that I had a meeting with so and so and my flight got cancelled, what will I do? Obviously that clerk sitting in front will not help you anyway. There's no point of speaking loudly that you are a big person. If flight is late, it's late. You need to be calmed down because that's the situation which is there. Next slide, please. So anger we see it symbol of power, but it's a symbol of, next please. It's not a symbol of power, it's a symbol of helplessness. He who angers you, conquers you. So a lot of time in design thinking, you need to be calm. You need to be calmed down. Sometimes failure happens. Just remaining calm at that point of time is much more important than creating anger, because a lot of time when you are doing a design thinking and creating something new, you may have failure. So tolerance is important for all of us to look at it. Next, please. Next, just skip the slide here. So this is just anger meter. I'm saying a lot of incidents of disappointment happens, and so next is a fear. How many times did you have a thought or so? So this is a time when sometimes a lot of ideas are coming to you. You must be saying, oh, this if I implement in this way, it will be very, very effective. But you don't bring it, you don't express it. And then you say, oh, no, this idea was there with me earlier. So what were those fears? Move on the next slide. So next slide. So fear is of going wrong, fear of failure, fear of commitment, fear of unknown. So a lot of time we have fear of unknown more than anything else. And that's why we don't raise hand. That we know sometimes problem is there, but we don't raise hand because it's not been asked me to do. Somebody has not asked me to do. And that's the fear of unknown. You need courage to experiment something. So if WhatsApp, if you see, there are less screen, number of screens, there are only 2 or 3 screens which are there in whole WhatsApp. It requires courage not to put some more things over there, to delete certain things because it's distracting the end purpose. Next. 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 So fifth frictional force is ego. Ego is all about blocking that I know it all. So this I know it all syndrome, that I know everything about the application. If somebody has a customer in banking whom I go to, the customer say, oh, I am in transaction banking business, I am in retail banking business, I know it all, you listen to me. I said, okay, I listen to you and I give all the weightage to you, I'll record everything what you're saying. But there are other 10 ways of doing the same thing. The same banking in America is done this way, same banking in UK is done this way, same banking in New Zealand is done this way. Would you like to listen and pick up some ideas from there and then make a holistic perspective of the application? So that's about the learning something new. The next slide, please. I have just taken 2 slides, one of Greek philosopher, which was 445 BC. He talks about unlearning, and I have taken Alvin Toffler, who is a latest scientist. He is also talking about unlearning. So for 2,500 years, unlearning and relearning are the critical trait of any good professional. It has not changed from 445 BC to 2016. It has not changed. Next, please. So ability to unlearn is the most critical thing, and we need to have ego to know what we know, but we need to have acceptance. Next, please. So these are 5 things. Next slide. There are 3 capacity levers. Just move to next slide. Next slide. The first capacity lever is comfort zone. We live in our comfort zone, live in the box. How do you move out of your comfort box? Sometimes I'm a technology person, I say, oh, I'm best in technology, I don't know business. Sometimes I say I'm a people manager, I'm a market manager. So I remain in the blue boxes. The yellow sea is difficult for me to cover it up. But the beauty of good design thinker is he is able to get the best understanding of all the subjects and then connect the dots between them. This moving to zone of vulnerability, from comfort zone to vulnerable zone, is a great trait for any design thinker. Next. The second capacity lever for design thinking is appreciation. When we are design thinking, we need a small appreciation. We designed this as a certificate of appreciation for school children, because a lot of time in India we celebrate only when the whole project gets succeeded. We don't celebrate milestones of each stage itself. I think we all need appreciation as a human being, and it creates a great energizing game. Next slide. Next slide. So this is the next slide here. The next is the limiting belief. This elephant, the previous slide just means. This elephant can break the rope. In childhood, somebody put this rope when he can't able to break this rope. But the same rope is used when he can break with a small force. But his mind says he cannot break it. That is what we call limiting beliefs. A lot of us land up into limiting belief when we grow up in an organization because of titles, because of roles? How do you break your own limiting belief? Next slide, please. Any failure brings your working space gets reduced because of the limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are so dangerous, it act on a body language. A vegetarian, if a non-veg item is put on the table and vegetarian is sitting there, it will create a nausea for him. While other person who eats non-veg, for him it's a saliva. So it acts on your body itself, where physiological changes happen because of the limiting belief or whatever belief you have. And those beliefs of something, this is possible in government, this is not possible in government, this is possible in private sector, this is not possible in private sector. All these are limiting beliefs. Anything can be done anywhere, and we can produce the best class applications, which we are doing anywhere in the world. Whether it's in India, Japan, or US, we can produce better application than US out of India. Thank you. Next slide. Next slide. So these are the 13 elements I call 13 elements. SAPIA, DCAF, and WELL are the 13 elements which is a theory of design thinking. They are at a subconscious level has to work on our mind process before we jump onto design process, because process can only work if my mindset is right. And now I'll move to session 3 or session 4, which is around design thinking process. So we'll move the next slide, please. So first process step, which is the design dialogue. I think first thing we need to construct is the right team for design thinking. So one of the important points is when the team is there, team should consist of somebody who is expert, somebody who has a perspective, and some people who are going to do it. So we need to construct a right team in the beginning. And they need to feel the end customer in end customer shoes. End customer shoes for taxpayer, if you're building a taxpayer application, you need to look at it into the shoes of a housewife or a shoes of a middle person who never use a computer. That those are the people who will use those applications. So that is the persona. If you want to build up application for sarpanches, they need to know how much computer knowledge do they have. We need to get into their shoes. Then we need to look at it, what all they do. Their cartographic view. Cartography means you map everything. You create a landscape view. That is a cartographic view of the application. Cartographic view is end-to-end application, how it is designed, how it is, what all it will impact. If similar application is done before, anybody else has used that application. So complete landscaping of the application is called cartographic view. And then you go to detective view. Detective will go into details of how the application works. And that's how the detective view works. So for that, we have tools called persona mapping. We have tools of empathy mapping. We have tools of L0 architecture. So these are the multiple tools. When we take a next session, we can take you through each tool, how it is done. But first step, critical step of design thinking is persona mapping. So when DG madam was requesting that we need to be in the shoes of the user, and user to me is the end customer who uses that application, not the ministry who is asking for that application. So sometimes we start believing that the middleman who is the user coordinator is the end customer and he knows the subject better. So interviewing the end customer, what is his behavior, is so important for a first step of understanding the requirement there. Move to the next slide, please. So from here, we need to start with the desirability of the customer. Sometimes he doesn't know what the desirability is. We need to ask enough questions to him to bring the clarity to his desirability. Think like a cartographer to create a L0 framework. Like cartographer, when he used to go on a ship, he used to draw maps. We need to draw a map of his requirement, which is L0 framework. Then you become a detective to solve actual problem, not symptom. Because sometimes what he says of his requirement is not the actual requirement. His requirement may be something different. From there, you feel what is unstated need of the customer. We have a well-defined persona and empathy map tools to record real experience of stakeholders. Then take cognizance of design elements, and you ask question how it is happen, who does it, what is when it is happen, where it is done. So ask enough questions to understand a customer and customer better. Next. This is just a persona form you can download later on. Next. This is empathy map. How do you do it? What do you say? What the customers say? What he thinks? What he feels? What he do? What are the insights of empathy map of the customer? Sometimes the feeling is important to understood when he's saying something. Sometimes he's saying something, but he's feeling differently, because that's a typical behavior of the human society. For designing a good user experience, we need to get into below the skin, which is a feeling. Next. After understanding the landscape, we need to now define the problem. Now defining the problem could be, there could be when you're writing an application or a system, there may be 3 or 4 problems you may be solving. But we need to paraphrase the problem rightly. If I'm solving a problem of saying reduce attrition, what's he saying? Enhance retention. The answers will come differently. Enhance retention will give a different knowledge packet, while reduce attrition will give a different knowledge packet for me. So this paraphrasing, I need to act like a reporter. Why I'm putting a word reporter? Reporter paraphrase the headline of any report is less than 7 words. If you observe Times of India or Hindustan Times, the headline is less than 7 words or 8 words. So sometimes I can define the problem in full page, but defining a problem in a headline is equally important than the full page. So in an article of the Hindustan Times, you will have 5 words headline and then 100 words below it. You need to define the problem as clearly as that, where I define 5 words and 50 words to solve the problem. Next, please. Over here, less is more. Apply 5 whys to get the root of the problem. We keep asking question, why this is the problem? Is this the real problem or something else is the real problem? And then you define in short a few words and positive words. Next step, please. So when I do the design thinking workshops, it takes almost first meeting will be 2 hours to 4 hours for doing the step 1. Second meeting maybe after 2-3 days, I'll do the second meeting for defining the problem. That meeting can be second next day, or that meeting will be next week. So sometime if I'm doing a design thinking over the 4-week period, I will divide the time between the steps. So design thinking process need not be done in a one single day. It can be done over the 1 month period, because you need to collect a lot of data after that and process a lot of data and assimilate a lot of data. So sometimes I do it, if it's to be done urgently, I'll do 3 meetings a week of 2 hours each. Or if some problem is a very serious, when I'm designing from the 0 base, I'll do each step of half a day for 3 days. 6 sessions could be there for 3 days. So that's how. So step 1, step 2, you take it as a 4-hour session. Now step 3 is divergence, which could be almost a day session. This is the area when we do the ideas collection. This is a brainstorming idea generation session where I ask them to write a post-it slips. I use Jamboard of Google, or you can use whiteboard, you can use pin-up slips and post-it slips. It's ideas. No idea is a bad idea. Principles are, no idea is bad idea. You don't have to judge the idea at that point of time. Idea is to create all the possibilities, whatever is possible to solve. I can use pattern card, I can use anti-pattern card. So I use 2 kind of post-its, orange post-it and a green post-it. Orange post-its are anti-pattern what fails, and green post-its which gives you the possibility of acceleration. Go to the next slide. So over here, we need a multiple expertise and perspective to generate ideas. So in this idea generation session, I need to get a 20 people team, 15 people team, 30 people team. Everybody has a right to generate ideas. I can, if there are 30 people in a team to generate ideas, I can divide into a team of 5 each, 6 teams of 5 each, and they will generate ideas in their groups. But one care has to be taken. Don't be judgmental in ideas. A facilitator on the each table should not be saying this idea is good or bad. Good or bad will be decided later on because it stops the flow of ideas. It challenges all existing assumptions and biases, policies, processes in the organization. Go in 2 rounds. First round is when you say, give me all the ideas which are positive in nature. Otherwise, what happened in step 1, 2 people in the group says this is a positive idea, 2 people says negative idea, nothing moves. So you make first half an hour, everybody will come with a positive idea. Next half an hour, everybody comes with a negative, what will fail. So when you are wearing Edward de Bono hat, you wear the green hat and a black hat, but you wear separately, not together. Next. This step 3 of creating ideas is a substantial. You will get a lot of ideas. You will get 100 post-its on a whiteboard or 100 post-its on a screen. Now, a lot of time we don't collect those many ideas because we believe, how do I deal with it? Because if 100 ideas comes in and I don't able to pick up all the ideas, so I stop asking those ideas altogether. Now, this step number 4, once all the 100 post-its are there, out of which 60 post-its are positive idea, 40 are negative ideas, I need to create affinity clusters of the ideas. Affinity cluster of similar nature, like how to have a user login. So ideas about when KYC is happening, how many ideas are related to user login? How many ideas are related to in area of processing the data? How many ideas are analytics related? I will put them into affinity cluster. Some of the ideas can be connected. One idea of KYC taken from different sources can be connected and make one complete idea. Then I can classify the idea in some ideas can be quick to solve. Some ideas will be related to in next 2 weeks what I have to do. Some idea will be very bold ideas, and some ideas will require long lasting, which can create a long lasting impact. And it may be 12 months idea. Sometime in a meetings we say, no, I need only 2 weeks idea. But if the long lasting idea has come, please park it, because that group has been created and you may park it that this is a long lasting idea. Sometime by using a small technology tool, a long lasting idea you can bring it forward because you have a lot of earlier knowledge in the tool, but keep it there. The biggest issue of design thinker is making choices. Deleting 80%. When you make a movie, the film producer do a shooting of 20 hours movie or 30 hours movie, and he has to bring the movie in 90 minutes. A Disney movie, cartoon movie takes 20 hours of shoot, convert into 90 minutes. It means he has to delete 90% of it. A good application is about what is relevant, and that is the time when the decision making comes up. Steve Jobs, the most important thing of Steve Jobs was what to delete, what not to deliver. In iPhone, there are only 8 or 10 apps are there. It's not too many like Google Play. And it has not changed from last 10 years. Less is more. And this is the biggest decision somebody has to make, what is relevant as a designer. Once that is there, then one can get into prototype. You will start testing the design. You start having a 10 gram, 100 gram, 1000 gram. So those are the multiple tools we can use it at this stage. So this is a stage requires almost a day of time. It may, personally to me, convergence, I may go for the 2 sessions, not even 1 session, because first time when we do convergence, then people say, oh, no, this was a wrong relation, we bring it back. So there will be iterations will be happening during the convergence phase. So that's a another 2 sessions are required for convergence. Next. So next slide, please. Now, step 5 is another important idea for NIC. I would say is there for all the Indian companies. All the Indian companies, we don't spend time in communication. We solve the problem and jump on to next problem solving. Communication is the biggest value gainer for any application. Communication means you need to tell the story for adoption. If you don't tell the story in a right format, people will not adopt your application, how good it may be. So you need to name the application, you need to package the application, you need to do the storyboarding, you need to create a presentation, you need to create a distribution of the application. So the 5 things are there. Name of the application should not be just a general application. Like Ola is a name, Swiggy is a name. A lot of time as a software designer, we don't create an impact by naming the application. Arogya Setu is a good name which is done, but some of the application which is there, which may not have been named, some application is named. Then you have to package it. Package it in a packaging which comes to your home as a showroom packing. Then you have to storyboard the application. All the movies are similar. Almost 60% movies are made on rags to riches stories. From Sri 420 to Muqaddar Ka Sikandar to Slumdog Millionaire, all are the rags to riches stories. But the way it is presented makes a whole difference. When I was listening to Basu Chatterjee last week, he said when he made Rajnigandha, it is just a 1.5 page story. But he made a beautiful movie of Rajnigandha with Amol Palekar. That's the storyboarding. Now you say, what is the role of storyboarding in software development? I'm saying whenever you are writing an application, you need to create emotions around the application. What is the purpose? How is solving the problem? If you create those stories, people will accept that application much better. Not saying this is a technical feature and this is a technical feature and this is a technical feature. Tell him how it is going to benefit him as a customer. We need to design a beautiful presentation and then design the beautiful distribution. So these are 5 things in a communication which needs to spend separate timings. And DG Madam, some of the products which we have done, it is taking 3 months time after the product is ready only to design a good communication to go to market. It requires almost 8 to 10 sessions to design this effective communication, because then we need to study which color is right, which logo is right. So I know NSE may not be doing it, but I'm saying for better product adoption, it's a industry need to do it to get an acceptance, like a acceptance of what Google does or what Silicon Valley company does. Next. So it's a key to scale up the solution or institutionalizing the innovation or a process. Use keywords which defines the proposed solution. Sometimes you need to create a new vocabulary to get the attention of the person. You have to work like a movie director here. In this journey, you have to visualize yourself as a movie director. So in the step 1, I was saying you act like a cartographer, then you act like a detective, then you act like a reporter. In step 5, I'm saying you act like a movie director. So these are the different visualization of the roles you will be playing. Next slide, please. So these are the 5-step process. First, we need to prepare the design mind. Then we build the step 1 of design thinking as a process feel. Second is to synthesize. Third is to diverge, create idea. Fourth is to converge, what works, prototype and connect the dots. 5th step is communicate, tell your story. And then sometime you iterate this cycle once or twice or thrice, depending upon the. So when customer comes back with a lot of changes, what I make 4th step, when every week the customer coming back with a change. If customer is coming back with a change every week, it means I have to go back to this cycle again, and I take some time off, saying instead of suggesting a change every week, I'll take 3 months time to assemble all the changes and release version 2 rather than changing every week. Move next. So for doing this, there are some frameworks. I'll just pass through as a presentation. But later on, we can take a separate session with the designers. But just go to the next slide, please. So first framework is a knowledge shelving and wiring. Knowledge which is there for any application. I need to define the knowledge at a macro level, which I call it L0 knowledge. When I go deeper into each shelf, it's like a level 1 knowledge, then level 2 knowledge, and then level 3 knowledge. It's like designing a house. You go to rooms, rooms to almirahs, almirahs to shelf. That's a wiring of the knowledge which is required, which I call knowledge shelving and wiring. Go to next slide. So macro architecture of the knowledge is a L0 and macro knowledge architecture is L3. So when the meeting happens, we say we are discussing at macro level or we are discussing at macro level. A lot of time dialogue which is happening, sometimes we talk about micro, sometimes we talk about macro, but when we, in our meetings, what we do in our intellect, we say, oh, we are talking today L0 level, or we are talking L1 level, or we are talking L2 level, or we are at L3 level. Next. Now, if you look at the application Coparis, which I taken in the beginning, customer experience, operation needs, performance, analytics, risk, integration, security. I may have a L0 level, then I have a L1 level, then I have a L2 level. I keep going detailing of each areas. So each application has to go into the 7 dimension to make it better adoption possible. So I have to go UI, UX, L0, L1, L2, L3. Then I have to go operation management, performance analytics. So adoption will happen, all the 7 is required. Now have you observed is Zoom doesn't have a password, which makes it more possible. It may be riskier. One has to make a call, whether for personal family friends, Zoom is a great service because it doesn't provide a password, but it's a better adoption. So they have a 200 million adoption. While Google Meet will have a password and everything, it has a 2 million followers. So you need to contextualize what is right for the kind of application which is done. In some application you want to invite more people, some application you want to have a security. All these things are important. All this has to be fine-tuned when you are designing the application. Move on next. So the frameworks could be in business framework, could be knowledge framework, could be execution framework, could be performance management framework, could be community development framework. So we developed all these frameworks. So next few slides are there. We keep Rashid past next few slides. Just next slide, please. So this is a business framework of banking. This is a delivery framework. Next. With this, we have some tools for people, how the tools can be applied when you working it out. So there is that individual level tools and there is a group level tools. So next slide is about individual level tools. First is about active listening and reading. So for doing the design thinking mindset in area which you are working on, you need to have continuous research and listening is important. We need to understand dialoguing. A lot of time we ask questions, but dialogue is a mutual questioning. Our observation and patterns. We need to have a diagnostic skills, 5 whys and details why this happens. We need to have a good decisioning based on quick, bold and long lasting, or 10 gram, 100 gram, 1000 gram. We have a role modeling learning and we need a sounding board. Sometimes we are in doubt. You need to create a sounding board. A project manager, one project manager in one stream can be a sounding board of second project manager in second stream. So if you create a system where you find out some peer to whom you can discuss a sounding board, or you can have some senior to whom you can share a sounding board. So these are the G1 to G7 are my personal growth tools. Go to next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. These are the tool set with T1 to T8 is the team level. how at the team level we can do the sustainable thinking shift. First, key one is the circle time. So this is a tool we are using very, very effectively, where we listen to every developer in a team. We create a circle, and every developer speak about his mind, what he has achieved in last 1 month or last 1 week, depending upon what level we are doing. Once he speak it out, we pick up some patterns, what is he's doing well. A lot of time what we observed in last 5 years back when I was doing the running the organization, I was only asking senior people to speak to junior people. So junior people, we never listening to junior people. So it was always a top-down kind of a communication. Circle time brought everybody together, because in technology business we are all together and more listening is required. So circle time has helped to pick up a lot of ideas from the developers community. T2 is L0 to L3. These are tools which I mentioned about it, macro to micro, but you number it. The important point is when the framework is created, you number it G1, G2, G3, G1.1, 1.2, 1.3, so that you can do the wiring very well. T3 is a tool for persona mapping. T4 is a tool for end state visualization. So how the final state will be visualization, that's a T4. Journey map is T5. My anti-pattern and patterns are T6. For operational excellence, I use a word called shift left, means in a project life cycle, what can you execute before, early enough. If I'm going to do the testing, when I'm doing the coding, can I write all the test cases during the time of development? So good managers do, they write the testing scenarios before it comes to the testing stage. That is a shift left. Shift down means something which you are doing at manager level, can it be done at a person below? And shift out is something which is not required and we are still doing it because it was being done 10 years back, is a shift out, deleting some of the process. And other tool, final tool is theory of constraint. We need to understand T8, what is the theory of constraint, what is the biggest constraint we are facing. There is a book on Ellie Goldratt. If we spot this is a constraint in the whole pipeline, if we solve that constraint, it can solve much more problem than solving 10 different things. So his focus is identify one constraint and solve it step by step, then solving all the 10 steps simultaneously when you are in trouble. So these are the tools at an organization level for changing the thinking process of design thinking, because design thinking has to shift at a culture level. That's why I am really appreciative of METI Secretary Ajay ji, who has initiated this. Then that is Nita ji, who is looking at a cultural shift in NIC. It's not some, she herself is spending full time in this workshop to listening. It shows that what is the commitment she is making towards us thinking the culture shift on the design thinking. Savita ji and every senior leader of NIC whom I talk to, they are genuinely want to make a significant difference in the way the thinking is done in the NIC and at national level. My commitment to it is whatever tools available and intellect is available to you. I have a lot of low coding platforms available in our organization, which is helping us out to design the code much faster. We'll have a separate session of them. We can give it to NIC to do the acceleration of whatever is required in security tools or in integration tools or tools of Canvas technology, which is the experience tools. So all these things could be available at NIC level, and that's what my personal interest is. Go to the next slide. I think this is the last slide. So this is a summary of it. We say there are 3 stages of design thinking, from desirability, feasibility, and viability to mystery, heuristics, and algorithm, and then to unstated pattern. Then there are 3 laws of design thinking. Then there is a design minds, 13 elements of design mind. Go to next slide. Then there is a design process. Then there is a wired knowledge framework. Then there is an individual, and there is a tool set. So there are 7 different blocks in which design thinking process works. Next. This is the beginning of the journey. So journey starts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think I've been getting messages. We have a few questions. If you can take them.
Sure,
Can we
please.
have them? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I think Nagesh ji.
My question is, how do you inculcate design thinking in our day-to-day work when everything is required as of yesterday?
Yes, that's the biggest challenge anybody else has. I think it has to start as small steps. It doesn't change overnight. We took Intellect almost 7 years to change the culture of the Intellect to make a design thinking. Initially, all of us are anxious to solve the problem immediately. We need to start taking some Saturdays. So we start taking some Saturdays off for starting our design thinking, because Monday to Friday we were almost on as of yesterday kind of syndrome. And then we have to start influencing our customers also, because customers were saying as of yesterday. We sat down with them and took them to design thinking, that how the design thinking will be helpful for them if we go for an application. So now if you look at it, Intellect application, today our defects, we have close to 500 installation of software. Total number of defects from all the 500 installation would be less than 50. When we started 2 years back, we are close to 1,400 defects, and now there are just 50 defects. Now the customer is feeling the belief that by applying the design thinking, they are better off because they are not experiencing the defect in the production system. Earlier they were experiencing a lot of defects because a lot of changes were there, every ad hoc changes were there. So that's where I think we need to do both sides, customer side as well as internal side, but we need to demonstrate from our side to take extra action on our time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pawan, I think, is he still connected?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Yeah.
Sir, I just wanted to understand, like, what is your experience of working with the government and applying or adopting the design thinking process, especially with the projects like GEM and other things, and what kind of bottlenecks you have observed, and what strategies you have sort of identified? If you can share that with us, I think that would be great for us.
Yeah, I think you touched on in some of the places, government contract like RBI, we are able to successful more than someone. So it depends on the leader at different places. So initially, there is anxiety of a user when he joins. One of the important point in government is that people changes very quickly. Within 2 years, within 1.5 years, within 2 years, their position changes. Then I have to reset the clock again and influence the person that what is the role of a design thinking. Initially, most of the people comes with a knowledge saying, I know it all, I know it before, I am in 30 years in experience in this field, who are you to tell me? So obviously, we cannot go and tell them that you don't know the subject, but we need to go a very subtle manner saying, oh, this is the way we can design your LC room. This is a place where I can look at it. So any opportunity which is there with government official, we take some 15 minutes extra time after the meeting. Sir, we want to share something extra with you. And this is where it can be useful for you. This will help your integration, or this will help your customer experience. So I have to do some proactive prototyping for the government official to demonstrate and build trust in him. It takes almost a substantial amount of time in government official. The only problem happens is he shifts after I've invested a lot of time with him. I have to redo the work again for building that trust with him. But once you start enjoying the trust, I'm finding that once you start having the vocabulary, what is a 1,000 gram item, then he start asking, okay, then I don't bother about 256 item which is pending. I'm looking for those 10 items which is 1,000 gram item. So I insert my vocabulary to him, 1,000 gram, 10 gram, 100 gram. I introduce vocabulary, less is more. That why do you need so many reports, sir? You need, is it everybody uses it? So I have to influence less is more. I need to influence last 2% is 200%. I need to introduce 10, 100, 1,000 gram. But it's a slow process, Pawanji.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have one more question. Now people are talking about agile design and development, where the focus is more on smaller teams who works, to sort of get the application done. But the focus of design thinking is more on collaborative development, collaborative thinking as and brainstorming and other things. How these two things fit together, sir?
Both are very, very fitting each other. First is in this agile development process, before an agile development process starts, you need to do the complete design first. Design of the solution first, and that can also be done with the agile teams. So like what we propose is that if we want to write, let's say, application for national levels, let me take Sarpanch application. I was just involved, I saw some of the application. I will create a design teams where I will bring 10 Sarpanches, 2 from each state, 2 from UP, 2 from Rajasthan, 2 from Kerala, some other advanced panchayat. Some of them will be very poor panchayat. If I take 2 Sarpanches from Kerala who will be very advanced, and 2 Sarpanches from UP or 2 Sarpanches from Bihar who are not so advanced in their management and their understanding of computer and literacy level, if I bring those 10 people as a design team who works with us to understand what is their persona, how they use it, what is the benefit they will have it, I will have a design session which will run there. And then I will have a second design session with Ministry of Panchayati Raj, I will have Ministry of Rural Development, and I will have Ministry of Education, Ministry of Healthcare, Ministry of Livelihood, and MSRLM. So I will take the representative from them and create a second group. And these two groups will work together. 2 design teams will work for understanding the issue. Then there is a convergence team at NIC which will work to the design level. Then I come to when I'm doing the design, I can do the simultaneous agile team for prototyping. I can do a prototyping for a small application to be shown to Sarpanch. Oh, does it make sense? So I can use Service Plus to do the prototyping of few screens. But those are not the application. Those are just a prototyping of the application, not the real application. To test it out, how does he perceive it? Then once it is there, then I can start having agile teams to work for the piece, step by step, piece by piece, each user journey I can deploy. Pavanji.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from Rachna Srivastava. Yesterday I was telling you about the e-office which has gone a big way. The government is using, especially in this work from home. So she has a question for you, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon,
Rachna?
sir. Good afternoon, sir. It's a pleasure again listening to you after the Tech Conclave. But the question still remains the same base which Pavan has put it, but I will put it in a slightly different manner. The question is, we all know, I must have graduated way back in '89. Even then there was systems analysis and design course. Even today, people are having it in the course. And the problem which I make a statement here is the software which is coming out, of which 10% is used, 90% not used. Is it the problem? The problem still persists and maybe may continue for another couple of decades. So where is the base solution? Is it the number of stakeholders? Even though, let's say, NIC learns this design thinking techniques and educate the end users and the stakeholders as per their perception and knowledge, but should it not be at a slightly deeper level, whereby the engineering institutes which are producing the BTechs and the engineers, the problem solving, not just as a part of a management program?
Yeah, I think you touched upon the right core. I think design thinking should be first year of engineering college to my mind. We are starting helping design thinking as a starting point. The first step of any engineering graduate who is coming out from the college or computer graduate should be first year should be design thinking, because based on that his mindset gets created. Today we teach in programming language without the design thinking.
Yes. Sir, any engineering for that matter. If I have fear in my mind as a government officer, a fresh BTech or an MCA or any other graduate joins an office and has a fear to pose a question to a joint secretary, then there has to be some course at the LBSNA also.
That's right. That's right.
The whole culture, the scope which we are limiting even for this. cannot be just the IT solution providing companies, but society as a whole, where you are saying anger, doubt. So why should a young person who is not coming forward to put a valid question which is in the mind, something deeper is there?
That's right. That's a fundamental shift, and it took us, Rachana ji, let me tell you, in Intellect also, Polaris also, this hierarchical system is so embedded wired in the people mind that in front of supervisor, you're not allowed to speak. We have such a parental cultural impact in India that we don't speak in front of seniors. And that's a very significant shift happened when I have to personally go and have a circle time with the junior most person, spending time with them to become open up. But still they were finding, if their supervisor is sitting there in front of them, they used to see his face, whether they are speaking rightly or wrongly. So your question is very valid. If you have to ask questions to joint secretary or secretary, and you are not able to ask a question, and there is a fear of asking question and fear of clarification, there is a lot of issue. Like we get a RFP from Government of India when we service Government of India, some PSU bank we service. The RFP is prepared. We think 2,000 reports are required. When we ask a question, why 2,000 reports? What is the benefit of those 2,000 reports are there? Nobody has an answer, because those 2,000 reports is a part of the last 40 years. Those reports are prepared. Today you don't need more than 40 reports to solve the problem, because you have immediate Excel sheets are available. You don't need those 2,000 reports anymore. But since it's written in RFP, everybody will want to adopt the RFP. We'll have to code as a vendor. They will certify only when the RFP is completed. So these are the questions which is there, and I think we need to take these questions to. I'm discussing with METI also that these are the waste of efforts which is happening across. With the way you mentioned, Rachana ji, most of the time we use 10% of our software. Yes, we use less than 10% of our software every day. Thank you very much for asking.
Thank you.
So we have a question from Joydeep Shom. He's from our transport sector. He looks after the Vahan and Sarthi applications, which I had mentioned, and many other associated ones from the transport sector. Shom?
So, it was wonderful to have your presentation once again after the conclave. So my question is that with the new technologies, like in the age of Agile and DevOps and cloud, the project lifetime is coming down from it was earlier in terms of years. Now it's getting down to months, weeks, and even days. Now in the overall context, the scope for design is also getting squeezed. We had a lifeline of say 1 year, then if it is 20-30% to design, then also it is in terms of months. But now we are getting a timeline for design only in terms of some days. And when we are really increasing validity to design, what the strategy should follow to give the design emphasis right in its place?
Yeah, I think there are two kinds of applications. One is when you're designing a holistic application, let's say for transport sector or for health sector, you're writing a holistic application. That I call it L1 design. At L1 level design, you don't write those applications every time. Like GEM application, we have to write government e-procurement system. At a gross level, it will be only one time you will be doing it, and for that, it will be e-procurement will be one design. Now, if you want to revamp that application tomorrow, then you will have a sufficient time which will be there to look at it, because currently e-procurement is running. If you want to say I have to write e-procurement for 21 or 22, then you'll have a time for redesigning the e-procurement in a new fashion. So when we are saying Agile is compressing the cycle time, that is only adding appendages to the application, but it's not a purely new application. A good application, and that's the right thing to do. But even in those situations, when you have to write a shorter cycle time, I still say that for development purposes, you are getting at least 4 weeks time to write an application. But can you have a Agile meeting for 1 hour every day? The teams can have a circle time every day for 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week or 1 hour a day. But we need to have an open time where everybody speaks out. in those sessions, cycle time should be there. So even if it's a shorter cycle time is there. It should not be hierarchical that one designer says, it's okay, I'll do it. That is not the way design thinking proposed.
Thank you, sir.
Savitaji, any other?
Dr. Savita, microphone muted. Your microphone is muted.
I'm sorry. I tried to this thing, but still not in the habit of toggling each time. So I think we don't have any more questions, and I'll just request Dr. R.K. Mishra to conclude and give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of Technical Advisory Group of NIC, I would like to thank Dr. Arun Jain sir for the wonderful lecture. Though there were significant technical glitches initially, but the content was fantastic and it went very well, sir. We have attended your session during the technology conclave also, but being part of the organizing team, to be very frank, I was not the beneficiary at the ground at that point in time, but of course that was highly interesting. Today we have attended fully. I personally have attended fully. There are more than 500 participants from across the country who have attended this session, sir. You touched
By webcast.
and then other district centers were connected to the breakfast and the listening mode, sir. The best part is, sir, that you explained the entire design thinking connecting to our lives in terms of be it as a citizen or as a IT system designer. You touched our pain points, sir, when interacting with the user ministries. You talked about user knows everything, user wants everything and all. You talked about, sir, use of asking question, the positivity, the conflict, because the conflict can arises and this leads to better designing of the systems. I'm sure, sir, this is going to be beneficial to all of us, and as you suggested, we will have a dedicated session separately for design process again, sir, and we will request you for that. I thank DG and IC for taking this, for guiding us, for thinking towards the design thinking, and to inculcate in our practice and in our day-to-day life, sir. And I'm thankful to the Technical Advisory Group as a whole for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Right, it's very, very interesting. It's a good journey starting.
Thank you, sir.
Right.